Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared, and today I'll be covering the latest news, announcements, most played games, hot new Kickstarters, and more related to board gaming for the past week. At the end, I'll also be sharing what's going on behind the scenes with my channel. So stick around, we've got a lot to cover. You can use the chapter timestamps I included in the video description to jump around to the topics that interest you the most. Leave me a like and comment on what kinds of updates you want to hear more about. To make sure you don't miss my news updates, new video tutorials, and our podcast episodes, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below the video. And since this update comes to you on December 25th, Merry Christmas, everyone! Let's talk about some Kickstarter games. I first wanted to mention a game that just successfully funded on Kickstarter. One First Games is developing a board game based on the Amazon Prime show The Boys. Their game will be called The Boys This Is Going to Hurt and is a competitive game for 1 to 5 players that plays in about 2 hours. Since it's based on a mature show, the board game is also rated ages 17 and up. Now let's look at some of the Kickstarters ending soonest. Canopy is a card game on Kickstarter with only 2 days left to back. It's already reached its funding goal too. In it, players take turns drawing cards to build out a canopy on top of a stand. It's a simple game of balance with specific rules on each card of how it must be laid. Think building up Jenga but sideways. Plus there's customizable ways to increase or decrease the difficulty. If you're looking for 80s video game themed board games, you're in luck. Print and Fun has a Kickstarter campaign right now for 3 roll and write games just for you. The first is Crime at the Abbey for 4 to 6 players. Players have hidden roles and different tasks to help the monk's abbey function properly, all while trying to discover who the hidden killer is. The next one is called Arca Roll, which is a tabletop imitation of the NES game Arkanoid. Players shoot out blocks by angling and rebounding attacks. The last in this group is called Roll Type, which reminds me of R-Type on NES. Control a space fighter in a scrolls system to shoot enemies coming at you, then defeat the boss at the end of the stage. The only thing I want to stress is that backers are getting print and play PDFs for the components and pages. You have until the 27th to back it. Another game on Kickstarter that rocks the 80s vibes is Bat Cup Season 2 Extreme. This is a bright, fast-paced racing game with skateboarding, rollerblades, scooters, and BMX bikes. Do tricks and use crazy items, weapons, and slime to slow down or block your opponents. The terrain can even be changed throughout the game. For 2 to 4 players, the game plays at about 20 minutes per player. The campaign ends December 29th. An interesting fantasy 2-player game is being developed called Wizard Showdown. Using a hex grid for movement, players will collect cards for special items and use their spells to attack the opponent. Use potions to regain health or mana, or do spells for damage and changing the game board. This is on Kickstarter until December 30th. Another one going until the end of December is a story-driven game called Tall Tales. The online version will be released first, then the physical game planned for shipment next summer. 3 or more can play this competitive game following an intriguing creative story. Through the game, players will get to craft their own stories and share in a fun, low-pressure way. I've never seen anything like this before, and it looks pretty cool. And kids as young as 8 can play together. If you're like me and have studied or have an interest in philosophy, there's a new board game on Kickstarter right now based on Greek philosophy. It's called Aristotle's Elements and Space and is a competitive card game about Aristotle's discourse on elements and space. For 3 to 5 players and boasts 10 minutes to learn and 15 minutes to play. If you like competitive trick-taking games, this may be for you. The Kickstarter is open until December 30th. For another cool card game on Kickstarter right now, check out this horror comedic game called Oh the Horror, and this is made by the creative team behind the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. The game plays similarly to Apples to Apples, but with a murderous theme. The judge for the round is the death dealer and plays out a victim card. The other players choose a method of killing from cards in their hand. Whichever method is chosen, that player collects the victim card. There's more to it than that, but that's the kind of party game that this is. Recommended for adults only. In industry news, WizKids just announced a new worker placement game called Jinja for release in April. Over 5 seasons, players will build shrines in Japan and activate various actions to earn honor, special abilities, and accomplish goals. 2 to 5 players can play in 1 hour, and it's ages 12 and up, and it'll be $49.99 at retail. Wizards of the Coast has more Magic the Gathering news this week. The newest set is called Time Spiral Remastered and is meant to be a new take on the Time Spiral block of sets, including favorite cards from Time Spiral, Planar Chaos, and Futurist Sight. It will be really nice to see some of those epic cards reprinted as part of a current Magic set. Look for more on that in January. Just announced by Pegasus Spiel is an escape game called Undo Peak of No Return. This is set in the Himalayan mountains, but to escape the disaster, players will need to perform 9 time jumps to change the events. Sort of like a Final Destination concept, but with trial and error time travel involved. If you don't stop the catastrophe, everyone dies. Retails for $14.99 and plays in 45 to 90 minutes. This one comes out this month. Fans of Seven Wonders Duel will be excited to see it's receiving an expansion in January. Agora is about the Senate's decisions that move the civilization forward, and the conspirators trying to wield the power for themselves. Adding Senate decrees and conspirators will give players more strategic choices to make. It will retail at $24.99. Ravensburger has partnered with a startup developer to make a tabletop console board to play their games in new ways that integrates the digital world with the physical games. The interactive board is called Square One and was funded via Kickstarter. If you're interested in the project, you can still place pre-orders for it via their Kickstarter page. The board contains several Ravensburger games built in, such as the Crazy Labyrinth and the Scattered Pharaoh. In other industry news, Capstone Games has announced a new Euro game called Coffee Traders that's currently up for pre-order. You have until the end of January to pre-order it, and it's to release in May. This looks like a very crunchy Euro themed around developing coffee regions around the world and building up your trading network for 3 to 5 players and plays in 2 hours. The Meeple Mentor channel is part of the board game community, the Gateway Network, made up of great upcoming board game content creators. In this segment, I'll highlight one of the other great content creators part of the network. Chris is the charity board gamer and regularly does Twitch and Facebook live streams with all kinds of people in the board game community. He maintains his Instagram at @thecharityboardgamer and is one of the nicest guys you'll ever talk to. Jay and I had a chance to interview him on our podcast, but that episode is only on the streaming audio services. The video didn't turn out well, so it didn't make it to YouTube. Not only will you find Chris regularly playing with game designers, publisher staff, popular board game content creators, and fans, he games for so many charities. He was telling us some of his schedule, and I couldn't believe how packed and busy he was with his support of various charities. He likes to say, if we can gather at the table, we can do the same for a good cause. He's got a big heart and just showers love and inclusiveness to everyone. You definitely want to follow him and see what he's doing. Click the link in the video's description or head over to the Gateway Network's Instagram to see more. As for what's going on with the Meeple Mentor YouTube channel, I've been quite busy trying to catch up on my recording schedule. November and December are always the busiest months in general, and it gets difficult to find extra time to prepare tutorials. Jay and I are going strong with recording episodes for the Mentor Minutes podcast. The Top 10 over 20 is out this week, and we've prepared the Top 10 over 10, which will come out in January. Doing the Top 10 games lists for the various decades has been really fun, and we're hoping you guys can offer some suggestions on what other Top 10 lists you want us to cover. The free game giveaway ended, and I've announced the winner to that in the video. They'll be receiving a new copy of Charterstone courtesy of our channel. It's been amazing seeing all the new subscribers joining the channel and watching the vids. I thank you all for your support. I uploaded the tutorial for Smartphone Inc. on the channel this month and have been working on writing some new ones. I'm working on writing for Great Western Trail, Dinogenics, and some others. No more tutorials are planned for December, but come January, you'll see the tutorial for Gugong with the Panjun expansion. Thanks for watching this week's news update. Like and subscribe to see next week's news update. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.